I guarantee it.
Welcome back to the Cannabis Community Project.
No one in Bob, God dog it.
Open up, Colorado. It's 420. Time to grind and burn.
This is not your son's stoner show.
Welcome to the Cannabis Community Project from Denver, Colorado at the Dank Studios, 3538 Denver, Colorado. It's the Grind and Burn Show. Are you still smoking flower? Stinking up the house? Having your neighbors wonder if there's a skunk outside? Try Cushly products, the natural organic odor eliminator. Lotions, sprays, candles, and soaps. Cushly will eliminate all of those organic smells. Cushly. www.cushly.com.
Good day, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the international world of internet land. We're glad you joined us here on CannabisCommunityProject.com on the Grind and Burn Show with Brainstorm. Y'all probably remember me from the last couple of shows I did. My name's Kate Mullen. I'm a publicist in the cannabis business. I've been an avid cannabist for many, many years, and I'm very proud to be filling in for Brainstorm on Grind and Burn. Very, very excited to have you here, Chris. My guest today is Chris Jetter. He is the president of the party known as Bongathon, unique to the state of Colorado. Just can't tell you how excited I am to know you and to have you on the show. So welcome, Chris Jetter, president of Bongathon.
Oh, I'm excited to be here. I tell you what, that sounds like you got a lot of media outlets that push out this show.
Yeah, Brainstorm has done an amazing job. It's an amazing product because there's people like you on it, cannabis entrepreneurs.
Well, I'm happy to be here.
Well, tell me a little bit about your story. So what were you doing before you got into the cannabis business? And as I like to say, what the hell were you thinking when you got into the cannabis business?
Well, before I got into the cannabis business, technically I was in high school. So, I started smoking weed pretty early.
You were probably in the cannabis business in high school.
I actually was a little bit. I dabbled a little bit in high school as well. But yeah, for me, I'm a native of Colorado. I've lived in Aurora, Colorado my entire life. I've been swinging weed in this town for, let's just call it 30 years. So from that standpoint, I've always been involved. Basically what happened is Obama got into office in 2008. One of the first things that he did is him and Eric Holder went to the podium and basically made an announcement that they weren't going to prosecute business owners in states in which it was legal. And so I think I got that message pretty clear. I opened up my dispensary by August of that year, and a lot of other dispensary owners, were in the business as well within a short period of time, to the point where they were starting to pop up on every corner in Denver. So that's how I got in. What was I thinking as far as getting into the legal cannabis business? I was thinking that we were actually breaching a legal form of business in that, underground dealers, kids that were in their basement slinging sacks out of their parents' basement, their days were numbered. For the most part, that's been true.
And it is still true. And I think that that bright horizon is still there, that of it being a viable legal business. How many businesses do you know that make billions of dollars in a year in one given area? So I think that bright spot is still on the horizon. So are you still a dispensary owner? And is your dispensary in Aurora?
Well, you want to talk about trials and tribulations. No, I opened up my dispensary in Denver, and the reason I did that is because I knew that Aurora would run everybody out, and they did. Basically, as soon as the Denver stores started popping up, Aurora immediately put in legislation, ordinances that banned dispensaries in Aurora. At the time, it was only medical.
Isn't that ex facto legislation or legislation after the fact?
Well, that's the thing. It's such a, that's the one thing that I think most people struggle with in the cannabis industry more than anything, is you have a bunch of, let's say, legitimate players, people that are trying to do legitimate business that are, basically bringing a industry out of a criminal shadow. if you will. And so everybody seems to walk on all these eggshells and are willing to comply with just about any regulation that's thrown forth just for the fact that they can go out and sell weed legally. So, when you look at it from that respect, there's a lot of regulation in the space that, A, isn't needed, isn't effective, and isn't being used in any sort of manner. But, people are willing to pay the ransoms on the licensing fees and the escalated costs in getting a license, minimum requirements of liquid capital and stuff like that, because it is a business that's basically coming out of a criminal shadow. So,
well, and it sounds like it's not far from the criminal shadow, even going into the regulation of government shadow, because it sounds like they're just, verifying that you have a fair amount of money that they can shake you down for. And I'm not you, and I certainly am not a lawyer, but the way that I interpret what I am presented with as far as cannabis law is that it really looks like organized crime, in that they're happy to charge you all these license fees as a dispensary owner. They're happy to charge you all of these legal, tariffs and charges and taxes and whatever you want to call them. Yet when it comes to the cannabis money or the cannabis industry, they prevent you so often from doing things like advertising outside of the state of Colorado and really limit your ability for your business to be successful.
I like the way that you phrase that and you bring it up. I've been involved with marijuana for a long time, like I said, and, cannabis has always been illegal. And cannabis to this day is still illegal. It's a Schedule I drug that's federally illegal, and everybody is aware of that. That being said, our state legislators, our governor, mayors, superintendents of school systems, etc., all of those folks are currently engaging in a distribution of a Schedule I drug throughout the state of Colorado, and they are co-conspirators in collecting the revenue that's earned from the tax bill. These activities are illegal on the federal level. They're clearly aware that they are illegal on the federal level, and yet they still are participating in issuing licenses and collecting taxes. So it kind of goes like this. Every month, I have an excise tax to pay to the city in the state of Colorado, and I pay that excise tax every month, okay? And the models kind of work like this. If I'm a businessman, then my job is to create business, to collect tax dollars, and pay the city and or the state my share of tax. In turn, when I pay that money to the city and the state of Colorado, their job is to open doors for me, provide opportunities for my business to engage in further sales and to make more money to generate more taxes to the state of Colorado, okay? That's a business to politician, tax money, government ecosystem, if you will. Now, it also works on the other side of the fence. Like, I could be a criminal drug dealer on the street. Okay, I sell marijuana, which is illegal, is Schedule I. That's an illegal activity under federal law. My co-conspirators, the state of Colorado, the city of Aurora, the superintendents, etc., are aware that they are co-conspiring to collect this tax dollar, okay? Now, when I give them that money, if they are a mob entity, in other words, we're all violating the law, right, and they're controlling drugs with guns and badges.
Controlling drugs and cash flow.
Correct, okay, with guns and badges, okay. If you were to define that under any other situation, that would be considered a cartel, a drug cartel. That is what's defined as. So this is where I'm at in business and taxes, okay? I'm fine on either side of the fence. I've been a drug dealer for a long time in the state of Colorado, and now I'm a licensed drug dealer in the state of Colorado. So this is the thing. I'm comfortable where we're either both criminals, right, and we're on this criminal side of the fence, and we go out and do criminal shit, okay, which is me growing weed, selling weed on the street, which is the mob taking their cut, and then the mob should be out there providing opportunities. In other words, I should be available in all the other mob-protected establishments that carry marijuana, right? That would be a proper way of doing business if we're all mob-related.
If I may insert here, is not also part of the mob to create, as you mentioned, business opportunities, similar to the obligation of the state in a legal situation to defend your right to the federal level to make a business off a Schedule I drug. So,
and that's correct. So the mob should be protected protecting me from the Fed. They should be opening up opportunities for me locally to sell so that we can generate more money for the month, which is fine. I'm cool with that. We can work on that side of the model. I'm fine with that. Or we are business people, and I'm a businessman, and I grow cannabis in the state of Colorado, and I generate tax dollars through sales, and I give that tax money to the state of Colorado, who, in turn, should uphold my rights under Article 18, Section 16 in the state of Colorado, and keep the feds at bay, protect me from the federal government.
Let's say that that article statute again. Now, back up about, 3 seconds?
It's Article 18, Section 16 of the Colorado Constitution. Okay?
And it addresses what?
That is Amendment 64 codified into law.
Perfect.
So those are all your protected cannabis recreational marijuana rights in the state of Colorado. There's also Amendment 20 that protects all of your medical marijuana constitutional rights in the state of Colorado. Now, within Article 18, Section 16, there's a subsection 3. Okay? It's Article 18, Section 16, subsection 3, Colorado constitutional law. Within that structure, you will find 5 paragraphs. These, I have them on a poster right here in front of me. I will count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs, okay, that describe all of the things that are legal in the state of Colorado for personal consumption, okay? What your rights are protected in the state of Colorado. So these laws are what can't be in any conflict of state law and or city ordinances and or county ordinances, okay? Those are your protected rights in the state.
And that is point outable should a business person, a dispensary owner, an ancillary cannabis business person go into a low-level city court, a county court, or even the state court, then you would say to point out these statutes, Article 18, Section 16, and then down to, I guess it's paragraph 3.
Subsection 3, which is personal use of marijuana. And so the thing is getting back to the model is, I'm fine being a upstanding business person that pays tax dollars that goes into the funding of the state and the city and the things that the law defines. Or I'm comfortable in being in the criminal model where I'm dealing with the mob, I'm paying them protection money, and I'm selling drugs. But the space that I'm not comfortable in, and is space that most of us are clearly in today, is the fact that our co-conspirators, the state of Colorado and or the city and or the superintendents that collect that money, okay, that tax dollars, there's a policy in place where a business owner as myself cannot put money into a bank because it's Schedule 1. It's federally illegal. Yet when I take my tax dollars and I turn around and I give them to the state of Colorado or I give them to the city and county, they turn around and put it in their interest-bearing accounts.
Those are federal interest-bearing accounts, are they not?
Right. Those are federal interest-bearing accounts that are holding large sums of tax dollars.
So they're laundering money, so to speak.
That is money laundering. And if I did it, or if you did it, you would be in some serious trouble. But the fact is, it seems that our elected officials, feel that they're above the law, that they are not going to be prosecuted for one of the largest drug-dealing rings the federal government has ever seen in the history of the United States.
Under the nose and eyes and gaze of the federal government.
In the headlines daily, boasting the tax dollar numbers that they're receiving on a Schedule 1 drug that is federally illegal. So this is the thing. I don't understand how, they can defend themselves and the tax dollars and not uphold the rights of the citizens of the state of Colorado lock and step. Instead, what we get is our legislators that want to pass legislation like House Bill 1220 this year, which limits plant counts to 12 per household. The 13th plant is a felony, okay? I have subsection 3 right here in front of me, and it protects my ability to grow, process, transport 6 marijuana plants. And E, which is the last paragraph, says assisting another person who is 21 years of age or any older in any of the acts described in paragraphs A through D of this subsection. So that means I can assist you to grow your 6th plant, okay? That means I can assist anybody to grow their 6th plant.
And for convenience, productivity, and maximum yield, you would want to consolidate that grow.
Well, and forget about what those factors are, I'm telling you, your rights are not limited in this constitutional amendment. There's nothing in this constitutional amendment under subsection 3 that limits your ability to grow for multiple people, to assist multiple people, okay? But they've just told you that you can only have 12 plants per household. So this is a little discriminatory, and let me put it in a very subtle way. Let's say there are a lot of our Hispanic friends that have, say, more than one family living in a household.
In this economy, any family, not even Hispanic, any family.
That is correct. Okay, so now you're telling people of 3 or more adults in a household that they can't exercise their constitutional rights because of House Bill 1221.
It sounds like that the state is renegotiating a done deal.
Well, they are renegotiating. What they did is they violated your rights by limiting the number of plants that you can have. They're violating Section E of the personal use portion because that says I can assist. So all of these things are a violation of your constitutional rights. Now, do our legislators say that they're violating your constitutional rights? No. If you go talk to those legislators, which I have on many occasions, the first thing that spills out of their mouth is, well, has this law been challenged? Well, no. Nobody spent the $200K and spent the year in court to challenge your law that is an obvious violation of the Constitution.
But they're still doing it. Don't you think this is a situation, or do you think that this is a situation where when the people will lead, the leaders will follow?
Well, I think, A, you have to, because I can guarantee that Amendment 20 and Amendment 64 in the state of Colorado wouldn't be on the books at all. We wouldn't have put our rights into the constitutional amendment if they had respected our right to smoke marijuana in the first place. If marijuana wasn't this huge, oh my God, thing where like it's been regulated and outlawed to death, we would have never had to pass a constitutional amendment to put it legal in the state of Colorado.
So you're saying that if they would have just left it a weed to begin with, then it wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, we're talking all the way back to Nixon days, right?
Yeah.
When all this
or all the way back
started.
to, what's his, Anslinger days.
Yeah, Anslinger. That's exactly right. But my point is that it's all become such a big to-do about it that we literally had to get together as a group of people, of citizens in the state of Colorado, draft these constitutional amendments that protect our right to consume medical marijuana, that protect our rights to consume recreational cannabis, and put them on the books. Are the legislators happy about that? Well, no. They've been prohibitionists for 70-plus years, and everybody that stepped in those halls that manages politics have had to carry that same line for so long. So anytime you're trying to deal with legislators, et cetera, within that space, their natural feel is to make whatever it is related to cannabis illegal.
And we all know that there's a bigger agenda at play, the shadow government, and this is not conspiracy, it's truth, that there's bigger influences at play, one of them being money, one of them being power, one of them just being the desire to enslave the masses in debt slavery. And I don't want to get all into that because I want to start talking about solutions for a minute. So what do you think about the possibility of a cannabis convention? We get delegates from all over the country. We all meet somewhere, centrally located. It's probably in Colorado so we can smoke. Maybe a big venue that's 420 friendly. And it's like a big dadgum political convention. And we all get together and we all have conversations and we all draft what we see as forward moving, perhaps legislation or perhaps just a 15-year plan.
This is where I'm at in this space in cannabis. Okay, I've been here in cannabis going on 9 years. Day one, when legal cannabis started in Colorado, the people that got involved with cannabis, like myself, had a lot of passion. They were already doing it underground. They saw an opportunity to move, and they did so. Since then, it has been a lot of large players that have out-of-state money that have come into the cannabis space that, A, don't have the passion for cannabis, and B, don't have a political will for cannabis. In fact, like the only thing that they see are dollar signs.
In fact, that's funny you should bring that up. I'm a part of a cannabis business development group and a bunch of cannabis enthusiasts and growers and, product producers and things like that. And it's interesting because talk about a snake in the chicken coop. The woman comes onto our group and says, hey, all you cannabis companies, if you're looking for executives for your company, I represent former executives of Monsanto and DuPont. And I'm thinking, holy freaking cow, don't drag that trash over here.
Well, there's so many things that play within cannabis. Cannabis has such a broader horizon than, say, alcohol does, just in the medical and or the recreational aspects of cannabis, much less the diversity in all of the products that you can get within cannabis. Everything from edibles to liquids to smokables, vapораbles, etc.
Across the board, marijuana to hemp. And, I think, and I have good reason to say this, probably within 3 to 5 years, we're going to see cannabis hemp and cannabis marijuana products or cannabis marijuana infused products in drugstores. And I am not kidding. And that means that it's going to have to move federally to be either unscheduled or rescheduled pretty quickly.
Yeah. And you're seeing a lot of the CBD products that are, already hitting drugstore shelves and whatnot. So, whether that's legal or not, who cares? But the fact is that you are seeing that move, of those products into those, even, like pet products. You see CBD and pet products now. So
yeah, absolutely.
It's pretty wide.
So let's talk about you, Chris Jetter, for just a minute. So you were a cottage industry in the beginning, got into the cannabis sector. You've been around the block with regard to politics and entrepreneurialism and successes and failures and all of those things that go together. What do you think was your biggest success to date?
Biggest success to date? I don't know. I don't think I've had it yet. I mean, I guess if I had to look back, probably the latest endeavor of resurrecting, the Blue Mountains brand into a recreational wholesale grow, which is what I'm currently doing.
Wow.
I've got a grow out in Aurora that I've got, a little over 5,000 square feet that we're doing 4 flavors in. We're doing Durban Poison, Sour Diesel, Bruce Banner, and Slow. And we're concentrating on those 4 flavors and dialing those ones down to basic effects and then providing those to retailers abroad. We can retail to all 700 plus dispensaries in the state.
That's a huge accomplishment. That's a huge accomplishment.
Well, the thing is when Altitude didn't end, Altitude Wellness Center was my retail. I was in there for 3+ years managing that. And then ultimately, I had a falling out with a partner and a family member, and I had to then turn around and file a lawsuit, and then, was an award after going through that lawsuit, and then ultimately, was all out of the cannabis industry at the end of 2012.
So the typical ebb and flow of a cannabis entrepreneur.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically, and I really had no intent of going back in the cannabis industry because it was getting so big, it was getting so regulated, it was getting away from the things that we got into cannabis for. And then I went to a trade show with my bong company. I had a bong company I started in 92, so I've been doing those for a long time. And I basically went back into that space, and I was at a trade show, and I had a gentleman approach me and ask me if I had the ability to open a dispensary and a grow. And I told him I could. And so that opened up a dialogue. And basically I've been working on that project for 3.5 years now, and we got a license last April. In the state of Colorado, I've possessed and managed every medical marijuana license, and I've now held a recreational license as well in the state.
Wow, that's I'd say so far your career is your biggest success.
Well, but there's more to it than that because, what I'll tell you is that in 2010 when I was getting my first license from a medical marijuana dispensary, I was charged with cultivation for a legal grow. I had it at a warehouse in Commerce City. I hired an attorney. I spent over a year in court. I had multiple court dates, and Adams County finally determined that my paper was legitimate and that I was doing it within the law, and they dropped the charges. That was, when the detectives came to that space that morning, I provided them all that paperwork. Did they want to look at that paperwork? No. Did they charge me with anything that day? No. In fact, I got a call from the Marijuana Enforcement Division telling me that they were finalizing my license, but that I had an outstanding Class 4 felony for cultivation in Adams County and wanted to know what I was doing about it. Okay?
Just wondered.
So I went through that process, right? Now, when I attempted to get my license for the grow in Aurora, we opened up a club space off of Alameda and Pecos in Denver. It was called POTUS. It was an acronym. It was People of the United States.
Oh, beautiful.
And it was a cannabis club. And when we opened up that club, so we sent them the information, told them how to contact us. And basically, we received no phone call from them. First off, we got a inspection from the building code, which we passed. We knew we were in the correct zone because it was a former swingers joint. So we knew we were in the correct zone. And then they came at us with a fire code inspection, and we passed fire code. And basically, the fireman gave us a story that every day somebody gets this radio. They draw straws for the radio. And whoever gets that radio for the day gets all the crap calls, right? And this fireman happened to get this crap call on our space. And he came down to our space, and he looked it all over, and everything was up to code. He was content, and he basically told us that he didn't care that we had marijuana in there, and that he was going to pass off our code, and that we could have a nice day. And he left. And so after that, we got undercover officers who came in, posed as members, came in, got the reimbursement, and then they raided the facility and charged me with distribution of cannabis, okay, 6 grams of cannabis. I, in turn, have to turn around and disclose all that information to the Marijuana Enforcement Division because I'm, in fact, in the process of getting a retail license to sell cannabis. So I'm being charged in Denver for selling cannabis criminally while I'm going through the licensing process in Aurora to get a license to sell cannabis. See where I'm going with this? Okay.
What's wrong with this picture?
It really is. So this is the thing. Like, we had discussed it. What if the cops come in and shut this thing down? We kept the shelves light because we're like, if they come in, we're going to prop it back open. And we did. We propped it back open that night. As soon as it left, we put it back out on our social media. We're reopened. Come on down. We're good to go. We're not violating subsection 3. They can kiss our ass. They sent another cop down there on 4/18, which was the weekend of 4/20. They came in. They did a controlled buy on the reimbursement, and then they raided the facility like 12 deep that day. They dragged us all out on the sidewalk. They put us in cuffs. They took us downtown, quote unquote, for questioning. Okay?
They perp walked you.
Yeah, they put me in a room. They didn't ever ask me any questions or any of the others that went down there with us. None of us were arrested, okay? None of us got our pictures taken. None of that. We didn't end up in the cell, nothing. But they took us downtown in cuffs. They put us out on the street and paraded us and then took us downtown, okay? And then they charged me with the same charge that they charged me a month earlier, distribution of cannabis, 6 grams of cannabis. Now, after I've disclosed all of this to the Marijuana Enforcement Division, I have one more inspection before I can open up my facility and move my plants in. And that's my security inspection from Mr. named Sergeant Pendleton, who is North Drug Task Force in Aurora. Okay? He calls me one morning, tells me he won't inspect the facility as long as I've got that misdemeanor charge standing. Not only that, but if I'm convicted of that misdemeanor charge, they're not going to issue a license at all because it's a violation of their terms in Aurora. I've literally been into trial twice, ready to go to trial, had my witnesses lined up because I didn't break the law. I got Sergeant Pendleton that is now threatening the operation that I put a considerable amount of loaned money into over a misdemeanor charge for distribution of cannabis of 6 grams.
Do you think they were working together, or do you think this was a series of unfortunate events?
This is a series of unfortunate events, but this series of unfortunate events can happen to anybody in the state of Colorado. The fact is that there are still laws on the books for marijuana. None of those laws went away. The fact is that they're still charging people for distribution in the state of Colorado.
So they're getting it coming and going.
Yes,
they're charging legal businessmen or men and women, business people, with criminal charges, but they're taking this is crazy. This is crazy talk. This is insanity. They're getting it coming and going. If this isn't organized crime, I don't know what is.
Thank you. And this is the thing. Like, they passed Bill 1220 this year, which was the plant limit count of 13, or 12 plants. 13th is a felony. Okay? 13th, we're taking you to jail, which is a violation of your rights. Then they passed House Bill 1221, which takes marijuana money out of the sales tax and gives it to the police so they can go kick in people's doors that are growing that 13th plant.
Get out
So they
of
can go
town.
kick in the door of their fucking competitors and take them to jail.
No, hold on a
So
second.
they can-
I don't think I understand what you're saying, Chris, because I think what you're saying is the cannabis revenues the state earns are in part delegated or dedicated to law enforcement to go bust people in a business setting for growing cannabis or selling cannabis.
It is made to go bust people like yourself that have a house that have the 13th plant that aren't paying taxes.
Get out.
That is what it's designed to do. It is designed to keep all of the tax dollars flowing through businesses like mine that are selling through dispensaries that are being highly taxed, that they're receiving their revenue on. Not only that, but they are also working with the federal government to kick in doors of quote-unquote illegal grows.
Isn't this entrapment? This
Yes,
is
it is
entrapment and
entrapment.
endangerment.
It's violation of our constitutional rights. It's them assisting the federal government to bust their competitors that don't contribute tax dollars when they are also selling, dealing, making money off of Schedule I drugs.
This is crazy. This is crazy.
This is just crazy. This is crazy. This is just crazy.
Okay? This is the thing. Every marijuana business that's in business, every business owner that tells you that they're they're walking within the law, they're full of shit. Every single one of those people is violating the law.
And it's just a matter of time or attitude till some law enforcement.
Yank your chain. Okay, you pissed off the wrong people. Are you familiar with the lazy line? Do you know about my friend Andrew?
Absolutely, it's legendary.
Okay. And what happened to Andrew when he refused to get a license and he wouldn't pay any tax dollars? They rolled in with the DEA. They lifted over $1 million and cut down all his crops.
Oh my God, this is organized crime.
Was Andrew ever charged for that?
No, I don't think he was.
No,
and he even opened up a second time, I think. A second
That's
and third
right.
time.
Did they give Andrew any of his money back?
Hell no.
Hell no. Did they give any of his cars back?
No.
Any of his watches back? Any of the stuff that they took from him? No.
It's a shakedown, man. It's a shakedown.
So, again, as a business person in the state of Colorado that owns a cannabis business, you got a license, and the reason you got a license is because you thought the state was going to protect you from the federal government. You were going to provide them tax dollars, and they were going to open up opportunities for you. Instead, the Colorado legislators have protected themselves against the federal government. They haven't opened up any doors for you. In fact, they would like to limit them as much as they can.
Absolutely.
They don't want you in I-300 bars in Denver. They don't want you regulating with cannabis bars up in Colorado Springs. The people in Colorado Springs didn't even get to vote on recreational cannabis. Okay, the city council shut it down. Where in Aurora, the city people, the citizens voted on recreational weed, and the city council would rather not have it.
Chris Jetter, president of Bongathon. I appreciate you. We'll be right back in a minute with more Chris Jetter. We'll be right back.
Have you heard a business that inspires you? Have you thought about starting your business idea? Make 2017 the time of now. Don't be a one-apreneur, be a cannapreneur. Contact us at the Cannabis Community Project. Contact me personally, brainstorm at cannabiscommunityproject.com.
Hey everybody, it's Kate again here on The Grind and Burn Show. I'm back, and we want to continue our conversation with Chris Jetter, president of Bongathon, and I mean Legal Eagle. This guy is amazing. You're going to want to bookmark this interview because there's a lot of very important legal information for cannabis entrepreneurs and for regular people that are coming in for tourism into the state of Colorado. So welcome back, Chris Jetter. Tell us about this party that's called Bongathon. It looks freaking crazy.
You've never been to the party, have you, Kate?
Not yet, but the pictures look
Because if you had, you would
crazy.
give me a loud, resounding Bongathon back.
Bring it on, man. So if you go to the bongathon.com site, man, this looks like the biggest freaking party. There's smoke outside. It's like there's smoke everywhere. Tell us about what's going on.
Well, it's a private party. We call it a trade station. And basically the lore of the party goes all the way back to 1974. Some kids up in Boulder started the party. And it went on and kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It was this myth status, like you heard about it, but you could never get tickets to the damn thing. It grew to epic proportions up until 1999 when Larimer County decided to bust the party up at Red Feathers.
It wouldn't be a cannabis party if the police didn't come. You wouldn't have done a good job. You wouldn't get the press if the police didn't come.
That's right. So the party kind of went into hiatus after that. Nobody wants to jump back on it right away. After I opened up my dispensary in 2009, I figured there was no freaking way we couldn't throw a bongathon. We were selling weed legally on the street. So we resurrected the party. We put it back together in 2010. We got in touch with all the old bongathongers that had been going to the party forever, invited them up to the party in 2010, and we had a successful bongathon, and we resurrected the party. Since then, this will be our 8th consecutive event. It's just gotten bigger and better. We call it a tradecation.
Tradecation. It looks like a giant camp-out smoke fest.
Yeah, it is. It's a party. So what it is we have private land in Huerfano County, who has been very friendly to us. We want to thank Huerfano. We bring out bands. We bring out a full stage. We'll have bands Friday night and going through the night on Saturday night.
And this is August, 5th and 6th and 7th?
Yeah, 4, 5, and 6 this year.
4, 5, and 6. August 4, 5, and 6, Bongathon. Go ahead.
Yeah. And then we actually do the Bongathon event on noon Saturday, which is what the whole party's been centered around since 1974. And that is a pot smoking competition, 7 grams of cannabis. We put 30 individuals that want to compete in the tent. We give them an identical bong. We give them pokers. We give them lighters. We give them a tray. And it's a team sport. So if I'm smoking, you're loading for me, and or vice versa.
Can the team alternate? So
No smoker and one loader. Yeah, that's the individual bongathon. That's like the crown jewel of the party.
And what is the objective? To smoke 7 grams as fast as you can?
Correct.
Fuck, I can do that at Waking and Bacon.
Well, that's good. You need to give it an attempt. Last year they set a new record at 4 minutes and 19 seconds for a quarter ounce of pot.
What, did you do that in one spleef?
No, I did it in a bong. You have to do it.
You have to do it in a bong. A big, huge, giant bowl, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's, we make sure that the playing field is identical every year.
Oh.
So we'll switch up the tubes slightly, but it's always a bong, and then they have to compete, smoke it as fast as they can.
And then you got the open bongathon.
Well, we do open bongathon, which is bring your bong, bring your 3.5 grams. And then we do team bongathon, which is 5-man hookahs. They have to smoke an ounce of weed through the hookah. The only rule is there are no rules. We also do a 7-man competition, which we call relay. So they get a quarter ounce of pot, 7 different grams. They have to smoke them in order. The individual player gets a gram. The first team to pass the bong all the way around wins.
It's either one person, 2 people, or a team of 7?
Well, we've got individual bongathon.
Uh-huh.
We have open bongathon, which is an individual competition.
Uh-huh.
We have team bongathon, which are a 5-man competition on a hookah. We have relay bongathon, which is a 7-man competition with a bong. Each individual gets a gram of weed. We also do fastest gram in the tent, which is you go in the tent, you try to post the fastest time you can, the fastest time over the weekend wins. And we do a fastest tandem gram, which is you and your buddy on a 6-foot glass bong smoking a gram of weed.
Wow.
One lights and loads, the other smokes.
It sounds so fun.
Whoever gets the fastest time over the weekend on that gets to take the 6-foot bong home with them. That's what they do. And then we also do dab off, which you said you had interest in.
I can do some dabs, man. I got a 4-chamber glass bong. I can clear that puppy. I'm not afraid. I've been smoking weed longer than most people have been alive.
That's right. Dab off will be 10 individuals on stage with 10-gram dabs that they have to do every single minute.
Till you pass out or crave cookies.
Can't do it anymore.
Oh, I can't wait. This is crazy fun.
I think the record on that is 22 minutes.
Wow. Someone did a tenth of a gram every minute for 22 minutes.
So that's 2.2 grams in 22 minutes of dab.
Man, this is all they got is 2 grams in 22 minutes?
That's it.
Fuck, man. I guess I'm an addict. I love the concentrates, man. They're like brandy to wine.
They
concentrates
really are.
to
They're cognac is what they are.
Absolutely. So tell us how much it is and where to get tickets.
The invitations, because this isn't a public event, is available through our various sponsors. You can find our various sponsors on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/bat, like you're swinging a bat, Colorado. That's our page. So you can go up there and look. We have sponsors information of who actually has invitations. Here in Denver, Daddy Danks has invitations. Smokey's has invitations. if you're down south where you're at, the higher calling.
So then we just need to go and pick up an invitation at any of these locations?
Yeah, just go down there, make your $90 donation. You got your invitation. You'll have to register your invitation online so that we know that you're coming.
Okay.
So you show up to the party, and we rage all weekend.
Crazy fun, crazy fun. I got to tell you how much I love the Bongathon poster. It's really beautiful and colorful and creative, and I don't know how many of you actually know who the character is on the Bongathon poster, but if you were a real cannabist, you would know that it's Mr. Natural, man. Come back from the dead, this time with a bong. Great, great picture. You know this is going to be framed and go in my office. Really appreciate you, Chris Jetter, president of Bongathon Invitational Bong Fest and Campout. That's, what is it, August 4th, 5th, and 6th, Chris?
Yeah, August 4th, 5th, and 6th. That's right, first weekend in August.
Yeah, and get online onto bongathon.com if you're in need of an invitation and a location to pick it up.
Yeah, and just for your listeners, that's BONG-A-THON.com. You got to put the dashes in there.
Yeah, there's that hyphen. Don't forget the bong-a-thon. Hyphen.
That's right.
And it's not bong-a-thong.
No, this isn't something you wear. This is like a marathon.
Right.
Thong.
So again, thank you so much. Chris, I want you to come back and talk with us again about RLA, Regulate Like Alcohol, movement that you're involved in, and tell us more. In the meantime, everybody that's listening, remember what Chris said about the Colorado Constitution. You can find out your cannabis Bill of Rights, essentially, by going to the Colorado Constitution, Article 18, Section 16. Just read the whole damn thing. Take the time, and there's no cliff notes and there's no 5 points on it. So read the whole damn thing.
The entire amendment really is like 15 pages. You want to get down to the nuts of it, which protects your rights of personal consumption. That is subsection 3, and that's literally 5 paragraphs.
Right, subsection 3. So that's Colorado Constitution, Article 18, Section 16, subsection 3. Yep. Chris Jetter, thank you so much. Everybody go to Bongathon, be a part of that. And, you know, I'm expecting tickets. I'm going to camp out front and cry if I don't get tickets. But definitely be in touch with us and come back and talk to us about RLA.
Okay, yeah, let's do it again.
Appreciate it, Chris. Take care.
Thanks, kid.
Bye. Thank you, Chris Jetter, president of Bongathon, and especially thank you, our listeners here at Cannabis Community Project. We couldn't do what we do without you. We also want to say that we are happy to hear from you. We'd love to get your feedback, your emails. You can email us at contact@cannabiscommunityproject.com, or you can hit us up on Facebook. You can send us messages on our YouTube content. But regardless of how you do it, we definitely want to hear from you. And we also hope that you support our sponsors because they're integral to our success and our continuing the operation. I guess I want to say in conclusion, look up your rights as a cannabis user in the Colorado Constitution, Article 18, Section 16, subsection 3. Find out what your Colorado Bill of Rights are as a cannabis user. Even if you're not in Colorado, especially if you're not in Colorado, this is what your state or your country legislation might look like. So it's always wise to bone up on that. My name is Kate Mullen, and get in touch with us. Contact at cannabiscommunityproject.com. In the meantime, be sure and hit us up on our website, on our Facebook page, iTunes, Google+, Spreaker, Twitter, SoundCloud, Massroots, Stitcher, TuneIn, Tumblr, and of course YouTube. And remember, you can download any of our archive episodes on our RSS feed off the cannabiscommunityproject.com website. I'm tapping my heart and pointing at you, Brainstorm. Thanks again for letting me fill in. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll talk to you later.